是那个阳光彩虹小白马，滴滴答滴滴答。
Hey, what is up guys? My name is Bazonga, otherwise known as the Governor of Salzburg, and welcome to the very first episode of Arks Earth on the Bazonga News Network. This is the first Arks Earth news series that's on YouTube, and so I know that Ark has a news series on TikTok, but he's basically as biased as Tucker Carlson from Fox, and on YouTube you don't have a time limit, so it allows me to go more in depth on conflicts or events that actually happen. I'm going to hopefully try and make this into a weekly news series where I can report on whatever happens in the server. And since schools are shut down due to Corona time, I'm going to try to be uploading more in the next 2 weeks or so. But also, if you guys have any suggestions for things I should report on, then feel free to leave a comment or message me on Discord, and I'll be sure to check it out, because I'm always looking for more stuff to cover. So the first piece of news we have actually relates to the channel and the player base around our nation. So our group actually switched back over to Arks server from Bytes, due to the fact that there was a really low player count over there, not enough conflict, and frequent server restarts. We're back on Arks server now, but this time we're playing as Austria because Germany was actually already taken. But it's funny because we've become one of the strongest nations almost overnight when we started like a few weeks later than everyone else. We have a few cities built up and a huge player base. So here's a quick tour of some of the builds and towns we have. So this is our capital, Vienna. This is one of our cities, Klagenfurt. Here's another city, Innsbruck. And last but not least is my city, Salzburg. So we actually need some new players to govern some new towns here in Austria due to the fact that we got downsized a lot after Ark said our cities were too big and unrealistic in border sizes. So we need some people to fill the gaps in between cities and move into these new towns or govern them. If you're interested, you can join our Discord server or leave a comment or whatever. You know, we're always looking for new people. On top of this, one of the members of the group, Hummus, was placed as the leader of the German nation, which essentially means that Austria and Germany now have really close relations and we're allied, and so we've kind of started to expand the empire past Austrian borders. Alright, so now into some more important news. A meeting of the United Nations was called today in an effort to avoid a world war between Canada and Italy. Apparently, a member of Italy was robbed of 500k and lost a full god set of armor in PvP, so Italy began to pressure Canada into giving it back. However, a certain member of Italy decided to escalate this conflict even more and started to make empty threats which were not endorsed by the leader. This started some bad relations between Canada and Italy because they both weren't sure why the other wanted to go to war, and both of them were trying to avoid war, except this one middleman who didn't represent either of them was making it hard for them to have peaceful relations. If war broke out, it would have invoked a full world war due to the fact that Italy is allied with the majority of Central Europe, which includes Germany, Austria, and Ireland. Well, Canada is allied with Russia, I believe. Well, Canada is currently in debt and can't pay the Italians back. The war was able to be avoided with good communication between the new nations. So, luckily, this whole thing was avoided. Meanwhile, in the United Nations meeting, a project was announced by Starpair to map out the entirety of Europe. Many nations are helping out with the effort, and hopefully there will eventually be a map wall showing the entirety of the continent, which would be really cool. Also settled at the meeting was the recent division of Brazil, after it was decided that whoever owned the capital of the country would be the rightful owner. The splinter group from Brazil argued that the owners of the capital were inactive and that they should be recognized as the official nation owners. However, this decision was vetoed by Ark, who said that if the rightful owners of Brazil did not log on within 2 weeks, then the old Brazil would be abolished and the splinter group would take over. Now moving on, we have some news that occurred over in the United States, which is owned by Ark and where the majority of the player base lives. First of all, the White House was recently completed, and the entirety of Washington, D.C. was built up. They finished the Washington Monument, as well as built a huge Arks Earth news station, which I don't know what they would use for, but it's cool, I guess. I mean, I personally like the Bazonga News Network studio way better, but that's just me. Lastly, in North America, the Trans-American Railway was founded. It's not finished yet, but when it is, it's supposed to do a full round trip around the borders of the United States. But just a heads up to everyone, you can get kicked for being AFK when you're in a minecart, so just be careful if you don't want to wait in queue again. Now, continuing this theme of railroads, Cape Town has begun development in South Africa and has actually dug a railway all the way to the South Pole, which is really impressive. They actually have a pretty large player base, and they've started a whole city. Now, meanwhile, the nation of Ireland has been developing really well and are currently an economic powerhouse. I visited them, and it's absolutely crazy how good their builds are, as well as how strong they are as a nation. Also, here's me trying to get over their border wall because I didn't realize there was a separate entrance. But anyways, they also just finished the GPO building, which is really impressive, and I think it looks a lot better than the White House, but that's just my opinion. It's almost double the size, and I really like the statues they included and all the detail that's over there. Now, in other news, the pyramids of Giza have been constructed and completed over in Egypt. Apparently a member of America was over there because I saw a flag planted at the top, which is kind of funny. But it's really impressive, and I can't wait to see what else they build over there. Now, finally, we have a small segment on the economy of the server. The economy is currently booming and hasn't been affected by Corona like its real-life counterpart. I had the honor of visiting Elon's shop over in San Francisco, which is the biggest store in the server and contains almost every item available in Survival Minecraft. On top of the massive aisles of items that it has, you can also literally see this man's shop from outer space. If you get a perspective from the live map, you can literally see a sign on the roof of the store advertising for it. However, since Elon wasn't on, I couldn't TP to him, but instead had to walk across North America until I found it, but I think it was worth it. Hashtag Elon Store. Lastly, Denmark is doing very well, and they have a whole market filled with various goods. If you ever need blocks, tools, enchants, or anything else, then make sure to hit up Denmark using /nspawndenmark. Also, Salzburg has opened up shop, and we are selling golden apples and stacks of iron in bulk at the top of the staircase, so feel free to drop on by. This has been the first episode of Arks Earth on the Bazonga News Network. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, then please hit that like or subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot since I'm a small YouTuber. But also, if you didn't enjoy it, you don't have to click the like button. I really don't care. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see your nation featured in the news, then make sure to leave a comment or message me, and I'll be sure to cover in the next one. See you guys.